Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. The place where our Declaration of Independence was signed. Where Rocky Balboa took his famous climb up the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. This is a city filled with so much history. Philadelphia is the 6th most populated city in the United States. According to the U.S. Census, in 2019, Philadelphia holds a population of just under 1.6 million. But behind all of the glitz and the glam of Center City, 13 miles north, there is a neighborhood called Kensington.
I live in Philadelphia, and I'm familiar with the Kensington neighborhood, but you know, the way you described it was even shocking to me. And I think it's because, like many Philadelphians, you don't go there. You have to pass by Kensington, you go as quickly as you can.
Started with Percocet and Oxycontin to heroin. Snorting it and then it's turned into a needle and 10 bags real quick. Easy 10 bags a day.
This Philadelphia neighborhood is commonly known as the largest open-air narcotics market for heroin on the East Coast, with many neighboring residents flocking to the area for the heroin and other opiates. In this part of Philadelphia, it is common to see people injecting heroin and nodding off on the sidewalk in the middle of the day.
I wasn't around it I wasn't aware of it as much, but obviously I progressively saw it get worse throughout the years, just living so close to it. Like I would drive by all the time and just, there's more people, there's more trash all the time.
There were an estimated 88,000 reported drug overdose deaths in 2020, a 27% increase from the previous year. In 2019, Pennsylvania had one of the highest drug overdose death rates in the nation at 35.6% per 100,000 people.
For some people here in Kensington, the opioid epidemic feels like a never-ending battle that's gotten even harder because of COVID-19. And state numbers back that up. More people are dying from overdoses.
This neighborhood wasn't always like this. It went from being sort of a blue-collar factory neighborhood to this haven for drug use, and there are still some people there who are affected by what's happening there who don't have people in their family who are addicted.
Governor Tom Wolf was in Kensington today asking lawmakers to take action.
They are real people who, with access to the right supports and resources, can change the path that their life has taken.
The opioid addiction problem is something that faces people all across Pennsylvania, here in Philadelphia, but in the smallest rural communities as well.
Getting people into rehab centers is not enough. The opiate epidemic has taken the lives of several people, and the drug-related crime is hitting the neighborhood hard. In order to work on improving both numbers, officials are starting to roll out several different solutions in this neighborhood specifically.
City officials have broken up a homeless encampment in Kensington.
A so-called safe injection site from opening in Kensington. Both announcements come after a very deadly year involving overdosing in Philadelphia.
Now from Kensington, officials today cleared out several homeless encampments in that neighborhood. It was all part of an effort to tackle the city's growing opioid crisis.
And within the last hour, outreach teams finished breaking up the homeless encampment that was here on Kensington and Westmoreland Street. Now, right after garbage trucks came by, hosing the streets and the sidewalks down.
Now the sound of the screeching L mixed with the scrapes of shovels and the crunch of debris as city officials clean up and close this encampment.
So I know for a fact that the city of Philadelphia spends the most money cleaning up Kensington. That is the biggest place that they spend the most money cleaning up all of the trash. If you drive through it, is so much litter. It's unimaginable. And it got to the point in the summertime where there was like an overrun of all of these huge mice. I don't know if you've ever seen the ones in New York where they're like the size of cats. Mm-hmm. It was getting insane. And they sent sanitation workers out there, and they cleaned up everything. Like seriously, polished the streets. But they didn't kick anyone out. And I went through there right after they had done that because I was curious to see how it was. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then I went through the next week, and it was exactly the same. So the mayor was like, "Okay, we're gonna start doing that every month then." And now every month they spend a lot of money cleaning up the area, and then they just put it right back to where it is.
These are the signs that were posted 1 month ago. If those that were removed today return, they could face trespassing charges.
Now, the city says this was not a police-led action. Homeless outreach is a year-round effort here in the city. However, there were folks here today saying compassion and support are critical when dealing with people that may be suffering from substance abuse issues.
How do the community treat you guys?
Like trash. It's the day after the big cleanup, and everybody's wondering, what is Kensington Avenue like the day after the cleanup? Wait, I see tents. For the Kensington tent keep away was less than 24 hours. Congratulations, you're the winner. You know who's not the winners? The little kids that live in this neighborhood. 100, I guess it isn't a big deal to have 100 syringes out in this neighborhood. Why is that? Why is it okay here? If this shit happened in Rittenhouse Square, which is like a fancy section of Philadelphia, this shit wouldn't happen. I don't think anything's really changed. You can give your, I don't know, you can give a pig a bath, but it's always going to be a pig. And I think that's the story with Kensington. It's always going to be a pig, unfortunately. It's a shame because it wasn't always a pig. It used to be a nice neighborhood. And when I grew up in that neighborhood, I remember Kensington Avenue being kind of like a destination.
What was K&A like when you were growing up?
A lot different than it is today. All the stores were open. Christmas time, there was lights up. All the, playing music. A lot of people on the avenue. Just better times.
We have a little boy. His first name is John.
Aside from the obvious drug problem in Kensington, This area is also a hotspot for gun violence.
On any given day, there are a number of shootings across the city, but in this case, investigators say 2 undercover officers were right there when a man produced a handgun and started firing during a large fight that broke out in Kensington.
Witness I spoke with, who didn't want to be on camera, described the scene like a movie. There were ambulances. He heard about a dozen shots fired and then cars screeching away.
The frequency of shootings in Philadelphia began increasing sharply in the summer of 2020. The year ended with a total of more than 22,000 victims, an increase of over 50% from the previous year.
Tonight, 6 people are recovering from bullet wounds in Philadelphia after gunshots rang out in Kensington.
In Kensington, the violent crime rate is roughly 30% higher than in Philadelphia overall.
Philadelphia Police Crime Mapper, there have been 3 homicides, 9 robberies, and 5 aggravated assaults in the surrounding area over the past 6 months alone.
As we begin with breaking news out of the Kensington section of Philadelphia, where up to 6 people have been shot.
Breaking news from the city's Kensington section at this hour, and this is just coming in. A fluid scene following a police-involved shooting. An officer, we're told, a Philadelphia police officer, shot in the leg and rushed to Temple University Hospital.
Currently, nothing is being done to solve the gun violence issues in Philadelphia, especially not in Kensington. In an article written by the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly's district attorney stated,
"We don't have a crisis of lawlessness. We don't have a crisis of crime. We don't have a crisis of violence."
He also stated, "It is important that we don't let this become mushy and bleed into the notion that there is some kind of big spike in crime." Overall, I'm sure I could speak on the behalf of many Philadelphia residents when I say I hope that the opioid epidemic and the amount of violent crime percentages will be lower in the years to come. Government officials need to be proactive with the situation for the outcome to be positive. This is no way for people to live. If you know a friend or a loved one who is suffering from addiction, please call 1-800-662-4357.